$2.5 grand later, and then... Hey, what's going on?
It's mine, Daddy.
Rachel.
He keeps taking away from me.
Rachel.
Give it back.
No.
Rachel.
Give it back.
No.
I said give it back now.
Rachel.
Tower of God slaps, and it slaps hard. Now, before you get on your high horse and say that the anime was mid, let me say that I agree with you, to an extent. While the anime was good, there wasn't enough action scenes and it took a while for the show to really find its footing. I was sitting at episode 5 still thinking to myself, what is this show really about? Then by episode 12, I was yet again thinking, okay, this is cool and all, but where is this going? What am I really in it for? And then it struck me. Not even before the credits finished rolling on episode 12, I was already knee deep into the manga. Or manhwa, whatever. I know the elitists are going to attack me in the comments. I took the leap of faith, I dove in, and after 150 chapters, I can say without a doubt, the hype is pretty real for this one. The Tower of God that you see post season 1 has an entirely different tone to the first. I know people hate the comparison to Hunter x Hunter, but I'd be lying if I said it didn't scratch that same itch. Each arc is refreshing and has you meeting new characters around every corner. The world feels lived in and not as barren and empty as the test floor was in the first season. I'll just say this. If you're anime only, you've got a lot to look forward to. So let's just assume the next season of the anime is around 24 to 26 episodes or so. I think that would make for the most satisfying beginning, middle, and end. It covers the Princess Zahard and the workship battle arcs, which I'd say are both better than the first arc that's tackled by the anime, as you actually get to see what climbing the tower looks like, and you also get to see a lot more fights. There's so many more that I can't wait to see get animated. One in particular being a super epic fight between Anak and Rand, who's just basically Killua, but if he was in Tower of God. Despite basically being a carbon copy, he is a great character on his own. And for those of you who are actually interested in picking it up after watching the anime, you're gonna have to go into the manga having an open mind, as you're gonna be meeting a lot of new characters and sticking with them for a while, as it starts with a 6-year time jump, which is pretty big. The moment I heard that, I was instantly ready to start reading, because it was gonna be really interesting to see where these characters went after 6 years and how far they are in the tower, what kind of things they're up to, and how much stronger have they gotten. Now, I won't lie, this did make switching to the manhwa feel a little confusing, as it felt like there were some things I was supposed to know but didn't know, but that's just kind of the way the lore is given to you. Characters will bring things up and talk about things that you have no idea what that is or who that is, and you'll eventually find out later down the line, and I mean way later down the line. They could bring up so-and-so's name and you won't hear about so-and-so until 80 chapters later. I get being from the author's point of view that this is a bit of a laying the seeds or the groundwork for things to come up later on, but in the moment it feels kind of pointless. Also, another thing that I wish I knew going in is that it would be a while before you get to see your favorite characters if you had any from the first season of the anime. The whole time I was reading through that first arc, I was just waiting and clamoring for the reunion of our main cast. Thankfully, they did deliver. It was very rewarding, and it took like 70 chapters or something like that, but it was well worth the reunion. Okay, now time for some spoiler talk. Let's talk about Rachel. So for context, I am only at the early stages of the Hell Train arc, and I still have quite a long way to go before I catch up to the more recent stuff. But this arc has had the most engaging setup thus far. Just like how the Princess Zahard arc is building up towards a reunion with Bam and his friends, the Train arc is doing the same thing with Rachel and Bam. You finally get to see them bounce off one another and slowly get more context for why Rachel did what she did in season 1. I've heard from a lot of people who are caught up that Rachel gets a lot more development and becomes one of the most fascinating characters. I can't say I've gotten to the point where I feel the same way yet, but I still have a long way to go. I still hate her guts, but I am excited to see where her character goes from here. I mean, it surely has to be uphill from here, right? I mean, right? Don't answer that. I want to talk about the moment where Bam is about to reach the top of the stairs and see Rachel for the first time in 6 years. Actually, no, at this point, it's 7 years. The moment was super intense. There's a big battle leading up to it. And in your mind, you know she's just right at the top of the stairs and you can't wait to see what happens. I was thinking to myself, oh, they're probably just going to play with us. As soon as he gets up there, she's going to get on the train and be on her way. But no. You get to see them lock eyes and Bam freezes. The whole time you're thinking, okay, what is he gonna say? What is gonna happen? And you know what this man has the nerve to think? He thinks to himself, I wonder how she's doing.
Boy, there's no real easy way to say this, but look, you're a simp.
I thought we were done with this. I'm not gonna lie, when I first read those words, part of me wanted to punch my screen. But thankfully, they do offer some sort of payoff as Rachel delivers the crushing line, why are you alive? Actually, no, that's not even what she says. She says, why are you not dead? Soul crushing. Bam, in a fit of rage out of his lack of understanding, why would she do this? Why would she betray me? Loses it. He goes full throttle, and honestly, it made for an epic scene, and I was hoping, begging even, for him to take her out right then and there. And you know what she does to him? What she has the audacity to do? She pushed him again. That to me is the ultimate disrespect. Rachel is the worst kind of person, not because she is a liar or a backstabber, but because she does everything out of spite and jealousy. It's her personality that is terrible. If you have something that she wants, she's gonna take it from you. Regardless of how nice of a person you are, where you came from, it doesn't matter. Just a despicable person to the very core. And honestly, that is great for an antagonist. And I don't even see Rachel as the main antagonist. Right now, she's got Bam wrapped around her finger. And to me, that's a great dynamic to have. I'm just hoping that Bam comes to his senses. Granted, I'm not super far past that part, but I'm hoping that he learned his lesson, because at this point I have no reason, and nor does he have any reason, to believe in Rachel in the slightest bit. I don't care how many dark nights you spent with her. I don't care how many times she taught you how to read, how to do these other things. Was her head given? I don't understand. What's the attachment here? Holy hell, bro. I went off script. I rambled for probably like 3-4 minutes about Rachel alone. This is why you don't read Tower of God. This is what it does to you. This is what Rachel does to you. Anyway, moving on. Aside from Rachel, there are a lot of standout characters that I really enjoyed. One of them being Wangnan, Ran, and Ilmar. Out of all the new characters, they seem to be the ones I dig the most, but if we're being honest, none of them can hold a candle to the OGs. And Dorsey, Yuri, and Anak will always be the best in my eyes. They were my favorites in the anime, and it sucks that they have to take a backseat for this part. Now, what I have heard is that Yuri puts in some work in this arc, and that's what I'm excited to see. Also, another thing to mention, and I'm shocked I haven't mentioned it yet, is the art. Obviously, that's the thing you're looking at most of the time. Honestly, I think the art is fine. It's very serviceable, and I'm just getting to the point where the art is becoming good. Because I'll be honest, in those first few chapters, the art is kind of inexcusable. It very much so looks like a kid drew that stuff. And thankfully, it does get better. And honestly, if you haven't watched the anime, I would just recommend watching the anime and then picking up where that leaves off in the manga, because it's just easier, and I could totally understand someone dropping the manga because the art is just not up to snuff. If you compare the older chapters versus the more recent ones, it is a night and day difference, trust me. Before I wrap this up, I do want to talk about the few problems that are prevalent in the manga, and it's not too crazy. It really depends on the person how much it annoys them, but you kind of just have to come to the conclusion that there will always be a game, there will always be a test, there will always be an obstacle to get from point A to point B, and it's up to you whether you feel like that is a filler or if that's a waste of time. But to me, so far, none of it has felt like that, and most of the time they are pretty fun and unique, and they're not just the wishy wishy-washy tournament arc style thing. Granted, that is in there, but it's nowhere near as bad as others. Another problem I kind of have is with the lore and the way it's distributed throughout the show. I mean, they do set up things like right off the bat that's like, okay, this is clearly the end game, but it seems like the end game is just something that'll be pushed and pushed and pushed for who knows how long, and you don't really know when you'll ever actually get there. We don't know what's at the top of the tower. We don't even know how many floors this thing is. So to say that an end is in sight is just not true. I think the easiest comparison that I've heard a lot of people say is that it's the same thing with One Piece, where One Piece is about finding the One Piece and becoming the king of pirates. But is that really going to be done within a reasonable amount of time? No, not really. And is finding One Piece going to be as satisfying as you think it is? More than likely, probably not. And that's kind of what Tower of God is like as well. It's not necessarily about what's at the top of the tower, it's not about the destination, but more about the journey to it. And right now, the journey is entertaining, and as long as you can keep that momentum up, I'm along for the ride. I don't know about you guys, but let me know in the comments down below. This video turned into something that I was not ready for, and I hope you enjoyed whatever it is now. Thank you guys for watching, and one more thing.
I'm glad you won't let go. All this empty space between us, yet the bond we share is seamless. Enjoy it while it lasts, let's have our last. We're